Maybe I get too close to the board. That's what it is. Use the pen.
Yeah, Fabio, are you there? Can you just pull the Ethernet cable on that computer? I'm going to see about just going through the backup and not going through the Ethernet.
Are we ready?
Let me know when that's done, Fabio, please.
Are we ready to go?
Can't hear you, Fabio.
Fabio, he can't hear you.
Yeah, okay.
We're okay.
It's pulled out.
Yeah, it's pulled out.
It's pulled out.
Okay, you're still on, so okay, we're good to go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. What they had to do with the microphone set. Okay, so what we done up to now, we relied on the vibration of electron, which is very, very minimal. It's absolutely insignificant compared to the total energy. But that's all we knew. Going into understanding the plasma, as you've been through with us over the past year, 2 years, and in other teaching, you came to understand we went through a specific process where we do not need the copper wire in a matter state. We start making a more efficient use of this copper. How do you make it more efficient? In the present physics, in the present time of electronics, they tell you and they talk about superconductors and super resistors and everything super that can carry the energy with a minimum loss from A to B. So what happened? Our dream has been to create the minimum loss between these two, using and understanding only the vibration of the electron. But in the current time, in the past few years, and as we put, for example, the first signs of creation of superconductors on the internet as a Coca-Cola bottle some 10 years ago, we start raising interest in other people, how this thing works and what it is. So what we did, we still took the same copper, but we brought the superconductivity from this wire itself, not from outside. If you go and buy nanomaterial, you want to coat this wire with nanomaterial, you have to buy a nanomaterial separate, glue it, or do something else that it can create or have a layer of nanolayer on it. The way I set up to do it, being a nuclear physicist, understanding in the nuclear structure, we can separate the atoms in a much easier way than what we've been told. So I initially use caustic, and then electric currents, and then other bits over time. So what we've done, if you look here, if there were the atoms connected to each other in the structure of the copper, like this, we allow them to be where they are, but we created a very, very special condition. Very, very special condition. And that special condition was that in a matter state, if you heat the wire, it will melt. If you heat the molten metal further, it will evaporate. The trick was to create a condition that you don't melt the wire, and the minute the evaporation as a gas of copper created, you can reduce it, that it can pull itself back. That was the trick. To create a nanomaterial in a different shape or form, which was allowing to create nanolayers of the metal itself, of the copper itself. So what happens now? We managed to bring them back to be in touch with the copper, but still you see separated according to the gravitational magnetic field, understanding that even in a matter state, each structure has its own, what you call, gravitational magnetic field. It's like Earth. It has a south pole entry and it has a north pole exit. Every single cell in this structure is the same. Every nanomaterial is the same. And when you do this, you find out here, due to a stronger gravitational magnetic field and less magnetical field, which is repulsion, the matter stays more compact. If you reduce the gravitational field strength in respect to the copper and increase the magnetical, which is repulsion, then you get exactly the same state as you get with two magnets. If you have a north pole and a south pole, or if you have a north pole and a north pole, or south pole and a south pole. A plasma behaves exactly like a magnet. It has polarity. It's the sun. If you look at one of these, you see the sun. You see the Earth. Earth is a plasma too. So what it is, the gravitational magnetic field between the two creates a gap, a distance, where they can coexist with no problem. The gravitational magnetic field between the Earth and the sun dictates the position of the Earth in respect to the sun. It's the same with your nano layers on top. Because don't forget, the bound and the binding of gravitational magnetic field on a wire is stronger, so the nanomaterial behaves as a satellite. And what happens is that now you have put this wire here. When you give it the right heat and the right condition, you create nanolayers. But if you look, the nanolayers are positioned magnetic gravitationally in respect to each other, where magnetical field is bigger, stronger, gravitational less compared to before. So now what you have is you have a spectrum here of nanomaterial flow. Superconductivity, where there is the orange line, because now you have less resistance to compact, so the material behaves as a superconductor. So what it was to heat the material high enough in a very short span, very rapid, that it releases itself from the matter state solid to nano state solid. And the proof of that was that we could see, if you look from above, a black line. The black line was the indication of nanomaterial, because on the top surface of these nanolayers, when you look on the top, being black means they absorb every radiation which comes to the wire. If you look, this is a nano-coated material and it's totally black. Every single wire is black, which means it's totally nano-layered. Now, this was half of the problem. So the next problem comes, how can we release these nano entities to become a free plasma, free sun? Because at this moment, the way they are still connected to each other in one way or another to the main copper line. So in the process today, we teach you how to do it. All the Keshe Foundation supporters around the world have been doing it for a long time. But because we know there is a huge number of new people online and are here to learn for the first time about evolution of the plasma, we go through every step one by one. Those are who are advanced. Unfortunately, you all have to wait till Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday that you can correct your wires, that you get something, then you'll be happy. But you got to understand the progress of technology this time is with us, amongst us, and all of us, we're going one step. So in time, we have to learn and know, understand what we are doing. So what happened is that we managed to create, come back here. We managed to create a nano layer. But this nano layer is still a stock to the copper. What are we going to do? What is our position? The next step was to be able to release every single atom. You're leaving us? Sure. Was to make sure that we can create an independent entity from these nano layers. When you see a nano layer, when you see a black coated wire, which is of its own, don't forget this nanomaterial here is atomic structure of the copper itself. It hasn't been coated. As we heated it the right way, we'll teach you how. We managed to release the top layer into open, freedom, but partially connected. For you to see these black entities on the wire, copper wire, needs at least 30,000, 40,000 nanolayers. So when you have the copper wire, and when you see it in black, coated, that's 30,000, 40,000 layers. That every gravitational magnetic field rays, energy, which enters or comes down from the atmosphere to the wire, the energy gets trapped in these gaps. And because they get trapped, they don't reflect back, and the material looks black to you. This is one of the signs of superconductivity, absorption of all the material, all the energies. So when you measure across the nanomaterial here, you get 20 megawatt of resistance, mega ohm of resistance. But when you put current through this nanolayer, because there is no physical electron to resist it, it's superconductivity. It's the first time man has managed to produce superconductive materials at room temperature and pressure. This has been the biggest problem in the world of science for a long time, to create superconductors at room temperature. Now we have it. And the process takes a few hours and less than a few cents. So now you understand why these things start looking magic, why we start having energies and being able to show these kind of performances from such a small box. But this is not the end. This was the beginning of the problem. We have the superconductor, but we absorb energy from what is available in the environment. We cannot dictate the continuity of the supply. We needed to find a way to guarantee a continuity of supply of energy to our wires. The solution came and is part of what we are made of. We, as human beings, are not made of matter, but we are made of a state of plasma, which feels like matter, but in fact is a free energy circle, or is a plasma on its own. So the next step for this was to develop a technology that we could release these single plasmas, which now were not attached to the matter state, but were attached to another plasma. The process was very simple. Looking into the way the universe works, all we had to do was to add a new material in the environment. So what we did, we added this copper environment, which is nano-coated, into a new environment, what we call, if it comes with me, this guy. No, it doesn't want to come. Pardon? Oh, there it is. So what we did, we put the material in a replication of the Earth atmosphere, where we introduced, I have a very bad cough, I have a water here, thanks. We introduce now, here we introduce the copper in a solid state into a new environment to create the nanolayer. Heat it up enough that it can loosen up, heated it further to become vaporized, that the molecular structure become loose, and then let it attach itself to become nanomaterial. Now we needed a new condition. The new condition we wanted was the replication of the earthwork. Earth does this, separates the nanomaterial through salt water of the seas to make single plasmas. So what we did, we added salt water in this environment, and what we got was the magic of what we call free plasma. If it comes on, if it decides to play. Now what we have is free plasmas. It'll take us ages to get this little boy working properly. So now what we have is free plasmas. If you look what the free plasma means, it means it's not attached to a matter state, it's not attached to another. It's free on its own, and it makes itself the decision if it's going to absorb energy or release energy, which side is going to be North Pole, which is going to be South Pole. So now it's a free plasma. Don't forget, the sun itself is a free plasma too, so the Earth. So now, by releasing the atomic structure into a nanostructure, and then by changing it to a gas structure, we have managed to create the replication of the energy source as a plasma, the same as the sun. Every single atom, when it's separated into atomic Ganser state of a plasma, now is the sun on its own. It means it's a source of energy. This is the where you see the magic, where to you has become a puzzling. How can we produce so much energy from such a little box without any heating? Because now we have managed to create a free plasma. And now, if you can master it and find it the right way, and now that you have the free plasma, allow the free plasma to be connected to the nanomaterial, to be connected to the wires, what you're going to get is indefinite energy. This is the new energy source. This is the breakthrough in the world of science, what you've been waiting for. To create a plasma which can release its energy on demand and freely. So you don't need the oil wells and you don't need the coils to burn. All you need is to free the plasma, and then once you freed it, bring it back that it can release its energy into the wire if you want AC, into the nanolayer if you want a DC. Because plasma is only DC. It does not have alternative. It doesn't alternate at all. It flows because it flows through gravitational magnetic field and not through vibration. Here you need vibration. Here you need magnetic flow. Here is a total superconductivity. which is going to lead to new materials which we could not even dream of a few years ago we could have. So what you see now, to be able to put a level to the release of energy, we connect the wire from the supply to this chap and not to this chap here. And then when you do this, you set the parameter for the release of the energy from here to this, unlimited. The vibration of the frequency of the current present system allows us to extract energy at 50 kilohertz for the systems which are set that way on the AC, and the same if it's for DC. So now you can understand the science behind it, and then now we go through a step by step of how to convert this to this, this to this, and then attach this to this, but create an environment that the total three layers work together in giving you whatever you need. This is the secret, and this is why these systems are called MAGRAV, magnetic and gravitational. Magnetical is what comes out, the system wants to release. Gravitational is what system takes from the plasma to give to the environment, whatever the usage is at the end. It has taken over 40 years of research and development. It has taken years of hard work to be able to release this. I would have released this 10, 15 years ago, but at that time they accused me of using nuclear material. They accused me, they tried to kill me 4 times over the Belgian authorities for discovery of such a simple technology. They called me a terrorist, and my organization, Keshe Foundation, was brought under persecution by the Belgian government to hide and disclose this, that no man can have access to free energy. Now it's yours. We stood 3 exiles with my family and 5 suicide, what do you call it, attempted murders, poisoning, for you human beings to be free to understand this, to have energy. And this is what it costs. Life of a family in the hand of a king who wants it to be dead that he can control, and that's all it is. Keshe plasma technology, what you get as energy, that's all it is. That's as much as you can understand at the moment. But now we have moved into plasma. We don't talk about this, but in the energy system, you can see how easily now you do not need any oil. You do not need any fuel to burn. Even where we connect to electricity here, at this moment, we can connect to no electricity. We can use a plasma, but the performance is not at the level we expected. We can push it. In a coming time, we'll deliver a 3-phase up to 1 megawatt units that it can be done, but you have to realize something which is very important in the coming months, that here, at least with these units, you are connected to an input and an output. But in the coming time, understanding that each box is like a sun, you will find out you don't need no connections. You take energy from the system as you wish without any wire connection. We already achieved this, but to commercialize it, it takes a few more weeks. You can literally take the unit, put it in the center of the house, and plug anything anywhere as you wish. They run themselves. You don't need to have an electric connection. What it means, if the fridge comes on to cover 30 or 20 degrees or 5 degrees, automatically takes power from this power supply. If you're in the house and you want your body temperature to be at 30 degrees, that you feel comfortable, it stays at 30 degrees. You want a boiling water at 60 degrees or 50 degrees. When you touch the water, it'll be 50, 60 degrees. We already have seen it. The people who are testing can tell you, you touch the material is cold, but in your hand is boiling. you feel the temperature. So we are in those kind of stages, but what is important, has been important, is to release this knowledge in a MAGRAP positioning, which is magnetic gravitational power units. Today, as we promised, as of 12 o'clock tonight, the units gets dispatched. Because we made an agreement with the World Peace Treaty that by 26, which finishes tonight at 12 o'clock, we are free. We kept the word to the government, and from tonight, all the units which has been purchased will be released around Europe. As I said, this CE certificate will be on the products from the first week of November. Is released to be done. American standard will be 2 weeks later, and the worldwide standards will follow through it, where we stand with our own disclosure and with the same technology. But what my request from all of you is, do not wait for our system. What to do is to actually get on and literally make your own unit. Make as many units as you can and demonstrate it as you use it, because this is important. The important thing with it is, once we do this demonstration of technology worldwide, then governments cannot block the technology, because in the coming months, we show you something very interesting. Every time we release another blue box, we'll have a workshop day like this, that you understand what a workshop day is. What it means is very simple. We add a food unit, you can copy it. We add what do you call it? Energy unit, you can add to it. We add a health unit, you can add to the system. We add a system which can produce any material, you can add to it. So in the coming months, these MAGRAP power units will give you everything which you need. Because if you understood, with all of us, we have managed to do one thing. And that one thing was, we have understood how, if this thing works with me, if it decides to do, I prefer to go back to my pen and my board. We go to 21st century, but we cannot do it. So, where is my board engineer? What you got to understand? No, it doesn't give it to you. Are you coming up? I've done the razor. What? Yeah, but it doesn't let me to go to a pen. It blocks me from a pen. Okay, now I have a pen. No, I don't have a pen. There we are. We are there. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Marco. So what we have, if you understood, is we have shown you how to make a sun. That's all. Now, sun rays goes across the planet, across the solar system, unconditionally converts to what it needs to be at the time. So now we have found these units. We have replicated it in different forms. Depends what you want it to do. Energy, food, medicine, call this Venus, call this Earth, call this Saturn. In different position in a space, we create different materials. Now we have the knowledge to do that. Now we have the capability, understanding in a simple conversion what to do. As I said, we open the blueprint. The blueprint means to teach you everything step by step. Today, we teach you how to do the first job, which was to create the first stage of what we call nanomaterial. You have the copper wire. This copper wire, thank you very much.